Motherhood, in other words, replaces status. As she holds the baby, cleaning and inspecting its bodies, the other females gather around. Their curiosity is intense, and their desire to hold the infant so impelling that they wait in line for their turn to do so. A few hours after it is born, the mother allows other females to take it, but her attention rarely wanders from it for more than a few seconds. Soon after its birth, it learns to recognize her and will stretch out its arms towards its mother whenever it sees her approach. Now, fossil findings show that apes congregated in the Siwalik Hills of Pakistan and India around 10 million years ago. Dr. LaGrosse Clark described his findings. He said a number of different genera have been recognized from these remains. The commonest form being a form of Dryopithecus, that's like Kenyapithecus and Ramapithecus, an animal about the size of a modern chimpanzee. There was also a smaller type called Pleopithecus, which very closely resembled the gibbon in the details of its dental anatomy, but which still retained limbs of primitive proportions like those of the Old World monkeys. Numerous species of Dryopithecus have been described, and they show considerable variation in their dental anatomy, some suggesting an approach to the chimpanzee, and yet others to the gorillas. Now, fossils of Pleopithecus, the ape from Austria, Czechoslovakia region, were found in the Siwalik Hills, along with fossils that have been named Civipithecus. Scientists state that Civipithecus evolved from Ramapithecus, and Civipithecus gave rise to the orangutan and Gigantopithecus. Now, Gigantopithecus was about 10 feet tall and seems to have reached truly gigantic proportions. His fossils were found in the Siwalik Hills and in Kawanggi, southern China. There also have been some suggestions that Gigantopithecus, the huge ape of southeastern Asia, which is usually thought to be a relative of Pongo, or of the orangutan, is actually a side branch or a strange branch of the line leading to man. Now, Gigantopithecus has human heritage. Like the chimpanzee and gorilla, Gigantopithecus used his hands and knuckles when walking. They're about the size of a female gorilla, and reports state that they lived on in Asia until about 1 million years ago. But ancient myths and some modern reports hold that Gigantopithecus categories linger on in remote corners of the world as the abominable snowman of the Himalayas, Bigfoot, the Yeti, or the Sasquatch of the forest of northwestern America. Now, Seth stated that larger nomadic primates and nighttime primates from Lemuria waged a war against Lemanians and daytime people of the second civilization. Myths from India describe the war as lasting for millions of years. They describe Prince Rama as a rhesus macaque who inherited a kingdom in India. Now, the great baboon demon, King Ravana, deprived Prince Rama of the kingdom and exiled him, his wife Sita, and his brother to Sri Lanka, that's Ceylon. Then King Ravana abducted Sita. Now, you know, the strongest baboon male herds and mates with all the females, so he took Prince Rama's wife. And legend states that Prince Rama allied with Hanuman, king of Langurs, and Hanuman brought herbs from the Himalayas to heal the wounded among their armies. Now, Rama's Bridge is the name of a chain of shoals near northwestern Sri Lanka, off the southeastern coast of India. Now, geological evidence suggests that Rama's Bridge represented a former land connection between India and Sri Lanka. Now, myth states that it was a huge causeway built by Prince Rama to facilitate the passage of his army from Sri Lanka to India for the rescue of his beautiful wife Sita. Now, General Hanuman reportedly led an army of langurs to assist Prince Rama. Edgar Cayce stated that Prince Rama entered India 10.1 million years ago. Prince Rama and General Hanuman reportedly rescued Sita and drove the army of large nomadic primates to Lemuria. Then something destroyed the causeway, Lemuria and the army of nomadic primates. Now, some legends state that the destruction was due to natural causes. Some state that Prince Rama used the science of Lumanians and developed sonic weapons, or weapons based on the science of crystallography, and destroyed Lemuria. Hanuman langurs of India and Sri Lanka are held to be sacred to the god Hanuman. And until recent times, Hanuman langurs were allowed to roam at will in villages and temples, raiding crops or helping themselves to the stores of merchants. In very recent times, their privileges were restricted to living on the grounds of public places and Hindu temples. Now, Hanuman is still worshipped as the monkey god who presides over the arts of magic and healing. This is a picture. They have a celebration in India, and the caption says, in this colorful Hindu ritual, a street player is dressed as the god Hanuman. Okay, they have numerous temples in his honor, and he's depicted as a monkey with a red face. Now, Uttar Pradesh is a state in northern India. Now, it's held to be the birthplace of Prince Rama, and it continues to be a seat of religion and culture. It has continued from earliest time to the recent period. Now, this state that chaos and violence continued in Africa, India, Australia, and Southeast Asia. Seth stated that Lumanians, or Kenyapithecans, simply destroyed their cities, and they went out and merged with Aureopithecus, hoping that their children might be able to survive all this violence. And fossils of Aureopithecus that date from 9 million years ago were found in Africa in association with species of Kenyapithecus. Two noted anthropologists wrote, Dryopithecus fossils disappear 8 or 9 million years ago. There are no in-between types known. There are, in fact, no ape fossils from anywhere after about 8 million years. At any rate, modern gorillas, orangutans, and chimpanzees spring out of nowhere, as it were. They are here today, they have no yesterday, unless one is able to find faint foreshadowing of it in the Dryopithecus. The other anthropologist wrote, between about 10 million and 5.4 million years ago, there's a major gap in available fossil evidence for human ancestry. Fossil-bearing deposits of this time are relatively rare in Africa for reasons that are not fully understood. And in those that have been investigated, primate remains are extremely uncommon. When the fossil record resumes in the second half of the Pliocene, it is exclusively in eastern and southern Africa that fossils of true hominids are found. They occur with an abundance that contrasts markedly with earlier periods. Now, the last major phase of Himalayan mountain building began around 7 million years ago, and it yet continues. The Himalayas have risen at least 4,500 feet in the last 1.5 million years, and they're still rising. Now, the bulk of those rocks were formed by heat and pressure of 4.6 billion to 570 million years ago, which is when the Earth formed. Some of the rocks contain life forms from 570 to 65 million years ago, as the reptilian area, and these rocks were deposited on the floor of the Tethys Sea. and some of those are part of the Himalayas. Now, as the Himalayas uplifted, the earth cracked, forming the East African Rift Valley. The Rift Valley extends all the way from northern Syria. That's right about Syria should be right about here. From northern Syria all the way down the eastern side of Africa. And the Jordan River, the Dead Sea, Nazareth, Bethlehem, Egypt, Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania, and Mozambique are all part of the Rift Valley. The East African Rift Valley is the most extensive rift or crack on the Earth's surface. It is so large that it can clearly be seen by satellite. It extends from Jordan in southwestern Asia and runs southward through Africa to Mozambique with a total length of 4,000 miles and an average width of 30 to 40 miles. It is thought to have formed around 10 million years ago with extensive volcanism producing mountains such as Kilimanjaro and Kenya. In other words, this crack formed as these spirits broke through this primates of North America. They shed this part of this reptilian heritage and formed the deepest crack, the biggest crack on the surface of the earth, the East African Rift Valley.